Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Anime Episode 10. I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.
So you had me watch the first 4 episodes. Well, we agreed on 3, but I ended up watching 4.
Which I'm mildly surprised about, but not really.
Of Tiger Mask W.
Yes.
So, okay.
Do you have questions?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, typical ones I wouldn't be surprised, but let's go ahead and hear what you got to question about this.
Okay, my first question is, in this world, are they trying to, present pro wrestling is legitimate? Because it seems like they want to have their cake and eat it too, because they call people heels, which implies that it's a work, but they also set things up in a way where the fights are legitimate almost. Because when a guy gets struck, he bleeds from his chest, and nobody would gig their chest.
Nah. Well, it's also a case that in the certain instances of that happening, he literally has clawed gloves, so the wrestler does it himself.
Well, yeah, but you would not be allowed to have legitimate clawed gloves.
Well,
no promoter would allow that shit.
Well, I think the first thing you have to specifically remember about this, it's anime. It kind of comes with the territory. But I think it comes to a point that it tries to keep more of a typical shonen storyline to it, so there is some seriousness to it. Most when I watched a couple of episodes, it kind of came across a little bit more of the Japanese wrestling that you've shown me a couple of matches of. But yeah, for the most part, they take a couple of liberties to try and make sure it sort of works.
Well, no, they're name dropping New Japan and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Okada's in a couple episodes,
Mm-hmm.
or at least one episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's clearly a tie-in with New Japan, because New Japan had Kota Ibushi put on the Tiger Mask.
Yes.
They had Juice Robinson put on the Red Death Mask, and ACH was Tiger the Dark. They legitimately put these characters out there, so there's some cross promotion going on there.
Nah. Little bits.
So basically, I don't know how to explain the plot of this. So Tiger's Den is this evil pro wrestling thing.
Yes.
Where they train people.
Yes.
And they're starting a promotion, I guess?
They used to be in Japan, but because of all the incidences of being completely wiped out in matches, they had to cut their losses and leave. And now they're going to try and come back because they've had some time and they have the monies, and it's okay, let's go back to Japan to get the monies.
So they have this global wrestling monopoly.
Yes.
And they're trying to run shows in Japan.
Yes.
And for some reason, why aren't they just a wrestling school? And just getting people to pay them to train them?
Well, technically there is. Of course, with the fact that you have to climb sheer cliff faces, walk across bridges with only your arms, and other sort of particular things, and it's kind of cutthroat. It probably wouldn't be good for a whole lot of particular things.
Yeah, so it's like a Vern Gagne school.
Pretty much.
Vern Gagne got the barn open again.
Yeah.
That's about the only difference. Okay. Tiger Mask, he gets the gimmick from some old guy who used to be...
Who was the previous Tiger Mask?
No, the dude who gives him the mask is the previous Yellow Devil or something?
Yes, because with this particular series, it is a sequel to the original Tiger Mask animated series that was placed on the air a couple of years previously, where Tiger Mask used to be part of the Tiger's Den and work with them as heels and doing all this evil wrestling, until a young child came up to him and said, I want to be just like you, and do all that evil sort of stuff. And he got that realization of, oh shit, I'm making young kids do horrible things. So he turned against Tiger's Den and decided to take them all out. And he did, including the previous Yellow Devil.
Okay, David, just a point of order. The original Tiger Mask anime started in 1969.
Yes.
Not a couple of years ago.
Nah, true.
Just wanted to throw that out there so people didn't scream at you.
Nah, I wouldn't be too surprised.
And it considers the events of Tiger Mask 2 are like a parallel universe.
Yeah.
It basically throws them out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I have to kind of ask, what did you think of this? Because it is a very heavy, like, pro wrestling based series.
Well,
obviously.
thankfully, with your assistance, I kind of have a decent understanding of the couple of wrestling things, but this is not specifically made for a wrestling fan. This is made for a person that's like, they've seen wrestling, but don't exactly know how wrestling kind of works. And it's kind of a little bit of a fresher to sort of get them an idea of how wrestling kind of works. Showing the couple particular moves, how certain stuff gets together. Not the one particular thing, but yeah, it's only been the first couple episodes, so give it time. But it kind of gives that base idea. The other particular thing is, it's an anime, so it has to go on the story of, it's a Robin Hood type character fighting against this evil organization to keep the traditional way of wrestling alive. At least from what I picked up from the couple episodes there, as well as the typical anime-isms.
In the first episode, you see, I think it's Yellow Devil, gives this guy a move off the top rope.
Yes.
That's meant to, like, severely injure this dude.
Yes.
Now, here's the problem. If Homeboy gave him this move, because he drops him on his head, he would have dropped himself on his head, too, because they were standing next to each other.
Yeah, with how the positioning was, yeah.
They would have both been paralyzed.
Unless it... Nah, anime logic. But yeah, in most cases, that's very dangerous. But yeah, again...
What move do you drop yourself and your opponent each on your own head? That makes no sense. Like, if he
They needed something flashy.
So give him a Spanish fly. Or a tombstone off the top rope. That would make sense. This does not.
Well,
I
suppose it also is a case of the specific injury, I believe is supposed to be spinal, where he can't exactly move around.
Yeah, so you give him a tombstone off the top rope.
Okay. It's something that would work there, but they needed something that's like, let's do something crazy off the top rope. There's like, okay, how do we animate it? Just put them this way, it's fine. But what about this other guy said, it's fine, go!
Whatever, they can all have brain damage, and by the way, I'm randomly here.
It doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, so I watched 4 episodes. I mean, I would like it better if it was dubbed in English.
Give it time, I think. Again, it mostly sort of depends on the specific popularity of that sort of stuff here. But after a certain amount of time, certain bits of anime get dubbed and brought over.
Because, like, this is fine, but it's not something that I'm going to sit and pay attention to. Like, this is very much a show where I'm like, I would put this on while I was, making dinner or something. But I wouldn't pay close attention to it, because if I did, I'd get mad.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, those anime-isms.
Okay, one thing I read, because I did a little reading on the Wikipedia page, and something that doesn't make any sense to me, is this show airs at like 2:45 in the morning.
Nah.
What the fuck, Japan? What are you airing a cartoon at 2:45 in the morning for? Who the fuck is awake to watch fucking Tiger Mask?
Yeah, people who enjoy it.
The lonely, the unemployable, drunks.
So about 45% of the Japanese population.
I didn't say it.
Nah.
Anyway, did you have anything else you wanted to say about this?
On the whole, with watching through it, it's definitely good for what it decides to do, and it has the couple particular moments of the story. As it kind of stands, it's not super. With starting it, though, I'm pretty content with continuing on and see how the rest of the story kind of goes. Since I've watched a couple of different fighting animes that are about 16 times more ridiculous.
Okay. So let's jump over to No Way Out, 2004.
There.
This pay-per-view was from well, they call it San Francisco,
Yeah.
but it's not really San Francisco.
Yeah, that doesn't
It's
surprise
technically Daly City, California, but close enough.
me. Yeah. Close enough that they could at least get the couple of shots they used.
Yeah. They wanted that shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, and they got it.
Yeah.
It's from the Cow Palace, which is a real venue. It's not a name they made up.
Nah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy places that are named with cows.
It's actually like a fairly famous wrestling venue in California.
Yeah.
The event grossed $450,000 in ticket sales from approximately 11,000 people, with 350,000 pay-per-view buys at home.
That does not surprise me with how everything sort of went in all the particular matches that went on.
Okay, so first match that you would have seen on the pay-per-view was Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty against the Basham Brothers and Shaniqua.
Yes.
And right after I saw that, I was like, oh, I should text David and apologize.
Honestly, it wasn't too bad. Again, it kind of came to a point of, I specifically remember Rikishi, and I only remember Scotty 2 Hotty because of his ridiculously stupid name.
It's a ridiculously awesome name.
Again, ridiculously stupid name. So, on the one hand, I first saw the title and everything there, but I was kind of like, it's the case I don't like these guys, or And I questioned, wait, it's a handicap match? Why is it? Oh, there's 3 of them coming out. Okay. On the whole, the match turned out relatively decent, and I thought I was gonna hate it. The only one particular point was, Rikishi was gonna do that one particular move I'm not particularly fond of on
Shaniqua.
Thank you. And I was kind of like, please don't do it. But, yeah, on whole, happy that Rikishi and Scotty actually managed out through that, but I honestly was not surprised. Aside from Shaniqua, the other 2 guys weren't exactly that amazing, so I was kind of like, what exactly is your guys' gimmick?
So, the Bashams, I would argue that the Bashams and Shaniqua are all kind of useless.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so vanilla. They're vanilla, and she's just not capable of anything, it seems.
She has the presence and the voice for certain things, but after that certain point,
But the minute she's expected to do anything physical, it's like deer in the fucking headlights.
She has like 1 or 2 decent hits, but as she gets grabbed or pulled off to the side, she's not going to do much.
Yeah, Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty go over for the tag titles.
No.
Next up, Jamie Noble versus Nydia.
Oh boy. All this particular Noble stuff.
I forgot about this character until I watched this, and I was like, this is why I love Jamie Noble sometimes.
So, brings up the wonderful drama that happens within the wrestling world. So, yay for Jamie. He got an
inheritance.
Okay, an inheritance. He got money, and he was thoughtful, and wanted to spend it on his, I guess, fiancé, or was it my girlfriend at the time?
I think it's fiancé. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but then she kind of went crazy, and instead of, being sensible about it, he's kind of like, okay, it's all good. But yeah, out of all the particular things that kind of happened, Jamie deserves a lot of that.
He's so good in this role, though, because, they get the inheritance, and it's like, I'm rich, we're going to Applebee's.
Oh, boy.
And then when he buys the trailer, and he's like, it's the best trailer in the lot.
It's got running water.
It's so good.
But yeah, the match kind of going into, you're fighting blindfolded. It's like, you seriously couldn't find any other match to supposedly fill in the spot. The story of it is fine, and her trying to get her revenge is fine. But still, really? So, on whole, the introduction to it was good, but the actual match and all the other...
Yeah, the match is pretty garbage.
Yeah.
And, okay, So, Jamie Noble goes over with a guillotine choke that they miscall a dragon sleeper.
Oh. Did not particularly see that. I got sort of sidetracked with he decided to peak and actually won the match with all that particular
But,
stuff.
how do you fuck that call up? Because for a guillotine, you have to be in front of the person. For a dragon sleeper, you have to be behind them. It's not like, you miscalled a choke because, of arm placement or something. It's like, you literally have to be on the other side of a human being.
I mostly toss that up to announcers having to speak so bloody fast in certain circumstances that their words get mixed up with things. It happened a decent amount within the couple of matches that you gave me.
Anyway, next up, Kurt Angle gets some promo time.
Yes. Mr. Kurt Angle. It's nice to see he hasn't changed up his style that much.
Well, the last show you watched would have been around this time, I think.
Angle is still Angle.
He's so bloody good. Where he's talking about how somebody attacked him backstage at a previous show.
And then Cena comes in.
Yes.
So, my understanding of Cena has been slightly skewed a bit because of the internet meme that he had a couple of years ago. Was that seriously his style when he was younger?
Yeah, he was a rapper.
Huh.
And it was so good. It was so good. I love how he just I miss this version. It's so much better.
My apologies, but I just found it cringy.
It's so much better. I love how he just walks up and he's like, nah, motherfucker, if I want to knock you out, I'll do it to your face.
That I can understand, but all the tones and whatnot that came with that, I was just like, oh, for the love of goodness, please. Costume-wise, all the other particular things, that works perfect. The fact that you're a bloody rapper, god damn it, though.
It's so good.
It's even worse than when later on, or whatever time it came up, the promotional thing for a CD of all the songs they did came up.
Oh, that's not the first time that the WWE had done an album.
I would not be too surprised, but
they've done Dave, they've done 20 albums.
Again, I'm not that surprised. I wasn't even that sad with the one particular wrestler, not sure where it is in my notes, gave his best hits and worst hits of his career sort of thing. But still.
Next up is the world's greatest tag team, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, against the APA.
Yeah. It was a thing.
What'd you think of the world's greatest tag team?
They were alright.
Okay. What about the APA?
They honestly seemed to have a bit more presence than they did. And it kind of just turned into a whole heel competition of, oh, you're injured at this one particular place. Kick, punch, all the grabs, twists.
Okay. So the APA at this point would have been on, Farouk is about to retire.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Jibble and Bits is about to have a major gimmick change. That's what I call JPL. I call them Jibble and Bits.
Radios.
I don't know why, I just do. World's greatest tag team, especially Shelton. Goddamn, Vince, why didn't you see money in that dude? Because he's such a good athlete.
Because it's Vince.
Yeah, well. World's greatest tag team go over after a Shelton super kick in just over 7 minutes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nothing match, but whatever.
There's something to fill in the time slot.
And then we get Goldberg. Goldberg arrives, and a Lesnar-Goldberg video package plays.
Yes.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. Kind of emphasizes the fact, oh my goodness, it's Goldberg! And if anybody doesn't know, here's the reason why!
And then we get Paul Heyman comes out.
Oh boy.
And he cuts a promo on Goldberg. What do you think of Paul Heyman?
If his voice went any higher, it would shatter glass.
He does have... His voice does get really high-pitched sometimes.
Sometimes.
What do you think of his promo, though? The way he talks and stuff.
It works. Kind of fits in with a couple of the crazier things, I'd be surprised if he announced some more of a serious show off a really important sort of person.
So, do you know anything about Paul Heyman?
Little bits.
Okay. Do you know what promotion he ran?
No.
Okay. Paul Heyman ran a little promotion in the 90s called ECW.
Okay.
Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
Okay. That doesn't ring any bells with you, apparently.
Wait a second. Were you supposedly going to inflict one of these supposed things on Justin and or me?
Well, yeah, on Justin. But, so you're not familiar with the style of ECW?
I don't think so specifically unless I see it again.
Okay. Well, you will get, at some point, an education in ECW.
I would not be surprised.
Next up, we have the Goldberg-Lesnar segment, where Goldberg jackhammers Lesnar, then gets arrested.
Yeah. Even when that came along, I was like, nice job with getting the handcuffs and having them be somewhat decent looking. But yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, they're just taking him out.
So then, I actually really love this. So Hardcore Holly comes bolting to the fucking ring, because his match is up next, but he's still pissed at Lesnar, and he wants to get his shots in. And I just love that. He's just like, I've got an opportunity, fuck it.
Thanks, Goldberg.
So Hardcore Holly has a match with Rhino, which is kind of nothing.
Yeah.
Holly goes over with an Alabama Slam, and I'm just like, why? Why
Yeah.
not let Rhino win this?
Yeah, it had me mildly interested with the start of him coming in and getting his couple of free shots, and then Rhino came in. It's like, let's get this match started! And then they start fighting outside the ring, and it's like, okay, they're really getting this thing started. But then after that, I was kind of like, well, that was nothing. Okay.
Yeah. So then we get a Undertaker promo, which basically just says, hey, Undertaker will be at WrestleMania, give us your money.
I was kind of wondering about that, but when Death was kind of involved, it's like, supposedly something with Undertaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, Chavo Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr., although I don't think they actually call him Jr.
Yeah, no. It's mostly just Senior with his dad that comes out.
Yeah, that's with Chavo. But, because Vince has an issue with having Jr. Because he's Vince McMahon Jr.,
Oh.
so he has a complex, apparently.
Duly noted.
Allegedly. Please don't sue me.
Oh. Apparently Vince has a thing for crushing heads. I'm not sure if it was just from the commercial promo they had before the match or what the case was, but that's kind of what I picked up. It's like, okay, Vince has a fascination with crushing people's heads. Duly noted.
Okay. So Chavo goes over and wins the Cruiserweight title in a pretty fun little match.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Mysterio is in top form from the couple things I've seen with him. Just everything he does, decent for Lucha Libre style.
Dave, I'm going to show you a better match with Rey someday.
Yeah.
Because this is at a point where, in my opinion, Rey's already slowed down a half step.
Okay. So starting to get on, but...
He's getting a little older and his knees are a little bit more banged up here. But he, like 95, 96 in WCW, he was just tearing up the house. Then Chavo is backstage and cuts a promo on Eddie.
Yeah.
Wonder if that'll be important later.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Next we have Cena versus Kurt Angle versus the Big Slow.
Yeah. It's very apt. Very apt for that.
So Big Slow and Kurt come out, and then Cena gets some promo time to do one of his raps. I wish I wrote down what he said, but it's really good.
The one particular thing I remember him saying was with the motif of everything having chains and whatnot. He's like, you see these chains? It's because I'm going to win this and all that sort of stuff. It's like, that matches fairly decently, but still, for the love of God, please stop it with the rap motif.
The rap thing is so good. It's so funny. Angle ends up going over with an ankle lock on Cena.
You know, with how much it kind of happened with there, it's not surprising, but it's kind of like, could have moved it on a little bit. But
But-
yeah, it's not surprising.
Like, the super impressive thing is that Cena gets Big Slow up on his shoulders.
Yeah, I was mildly amazed with that, though I think they kind of exaggerated with his weight. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but still, he's a big fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the biggest thing with that show was Angle and Big Show go at it, and Cena's just over in the corner
he's just
I did.
laughing at them.
laughing at him and supposedly shooting rhymes or insults at them. And I'm just like, are you asking to get your ass flipping handed to you? Because I would not be surprised if those two just double teamed him just to throw him out of
It's
the ring.
so good. He's just, like, leaning up against the ropes, just like, you're fucking idiots. It's so
then-
good.
It's just kind of a swap off between everyone else. Then Big Show goes after Cena and starts roughing him
Yeah.
up a bit, and Angle's off to the side like, "Oh, how do you like it now, being on a fight with Big Show?" And then Cena says something, gets Angle to fight him, and Big Show's just like, "Wait, should I intervene? Should I just take both of these fuckers out?" Yeah, but now on the whole, match turned out fairly decent.
And then we go to the main event.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
Yes.
So, going into this, how much did you know about Eddie Guerrero?
A little bit with a match or two that you showed me with him, and little bits of information that were sprinkled throughout the show about what he's kind of gone through. I don't know the whole story, but he had a couple drug issues
Yes.
that sort of went on with that, which I was not surprised. He's a wrestler, so stuff
Yeah.
like that's gonna happen probably.
What about Brock Lesnar?
I essentially only know him from him being on the title of a particular wrestling video game from one of my old Nintendo Power magazines. And I was like, okay, he was in the one particular match. I'm not particularly sure his stance with being the champion, that sort of thing. His personality of things, just kind of he's a big, tough bulldog of the championship sort of thing. It's like, okay.
Okay, so Eddie comes out in his lowrider
Yes.
with the hydraulics.
Yes.
It's great.
He has
And
a decent entrance.
he is such a fucking star.
Yeah.
Like, the crowd reaction he gets,
Yeah, definitely.
it's like, holy fuck. So why don't you talk about this match a little?
Yeah, it was a little one-sided to get started.
Yeah.
Just with size difference. That yeah, Brock was just kind of literally throwing Eddie around like a rag doll, but
Yeah.
I think that was kind of intentional. But
Yeah, Eddie is so good at making Lesnar just look like a beast.
nah.
Like, he's selling and bumping around for Lesnar, like, fuck. It's great.
But then of course they stick to the storyline of him changing his ways, getting clean, and only getting high off the fighting and going in for that title sort of stuff, and crowd followed along with it really decently.
Yeah, so near the end of the match, Goldberg comes down and spears Lesnar.
Yeah.
And the minute he hits that spear, everybody in the crowd stands up.
I did not specifically notice that, but I would not be too surprised.
Like, at that moment, 90% of that crowd knows how this match ends. So Eddie gets a near fall off of the spear. So
Yes.
Lesnar still kicks out at 2. And then Eddie grabs the world title and he's about to hit Lesnar with it. Lesnar ducks, hits Eddie, and then... Or no, he picks Eddie up to give him the F5. Eddie
Yeah.
turns it into a DDT onto the world title.
Yeah.
Taz has my favorite moment in commentary at that moment.
Okay.
Did you catch what Taz said?
No, not that particular line.
So, okay, when Eddie comes out, did you notice anything about his song?
No, with that one, I guess it's changed, but no, I don't.
Okay, so Eddie's song has the line that's repeated many times: "We lie, we cheat, we steal."
Okay, sticking in with the advertising.
Yeah, and then when Eddie hits the DDT on the title, which is he, like clearly misses, but Taz has this great line where he's like, Eddie Guerrero cheated with that move. And the way he says it is just like, he's like a 5-year-old. He's like, he cheated. Does nobody else see this injustice?
No, I vaguely remember hearing a little bit of that when it came up.
Taz is so fucking good in that moment. I'm like, Taz is normally not very good on commentary, but that line is so good.
Yeah, I can somewhat understand that.
Eddie climbs to the top, and god damn is he over.
Yeah.
He hits the frog splash.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Eddie Guerrero wins the WWE Championship.
Yes.
What did you think of this?
It's like, yay! The underdog got the thing, and it's all yay hoorayness. Just, yeah, everything's all good and happy. It's like, yay! What's gonna happen next week with this?
So, after winning the match, Eddie slides out of the ring and just dives into the crowd.
Yeah.
And security then has to pull him out.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he's expected. I'm crowd surfing this entire stadium.
There's a match from 2011 where that CM Punk wins that's very similar to that.
Oh,
and I'm like, so Eddie then gets the world title. He goes over and hugs his mom, who's in the front row.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder if that was planned.
Oh, man. I wonder.
He then stands on the announce table with the world title, and they throw him the Mexican flag.
Ah, yes.
And then Eddie makes his way up to the top of the ramp, where he falls to his knees, holds the world title, and we fade to black with Eddie with tears in his eyes holding the world title.
Yes.
It's a great match.
Nah, turned out to be pretty good.
And Michael Cole is so fucking on. Michael Cole is not a great commentary usually. Or commentator. For the simple reason that he's great when he doesn't have to listen to Vince. Because, there are shows where they've done, they did this special in Japan, where Vince didn't produce anything. It was other people. And Michael Cole was really good. And, here, Michael Cole is really good. The problem is when he has to, when Vince is in his ear every 5 minutes, you gotta plug the app. You gotta plug this. Michael Cole here is just so fucking on point when he wins the title. He has so many good lines. He has a great line at the end of the pay-per-view, which is, Eddie Guerrero will no longer be known as Addict. He'll be simply known as WWE Champion. Mm-hmm. Way to go, Eddie. And his voice cracks right as he's saying it, and it's such a good moment. It's so fucking good.
I remember him saying that. I don't know if I caught him with the voice crack, though. It's literally got to that point.
Yeah, it's such a good moment. So, now that I'm done gushing, I might like this match just a little bit. What did you think of it?
It actually turned out to be fairly good. On whole, all the big important matches had their moments. With me, though, it's kind of a case of I have a different sort of point of tension for certain things, where they have them pinned down, but then they pop out. Have them pinned down, they pop out. And I understand they need to have the match last for a certain amount of time, but it's also kind of a case of if you're gonna get to that certain point, spread it out a bit.
What do you mean? Like the near fall and then the DDT and then the frog splash and ending there? It's too quick?
With that one, it did work. With a couple of the other matches, though, especially with the triple match that happened, it was you had them pinned, but they break out of it. And at the start, there's the competition for it, and that works. But there's the case that they're either that one bit where they were all down, just a case of
So, okay, I want to see if I understand correctly. So is your issue when they do near fall finish? You kick out, you kick out, you kick out, you kick out, and then the match ends? Or is it more when there's everybody down selling?
A little bit of that. It's kind of a case of I understand there need to be kind of those points of, oh my gosh, he's gonna win. Oh, he popped out, relief, or come on. But spread out points like that. There's points of selling, but there's also points of you're doing the same thing 3 times within less than 2 minutes or so. Get on with it.
Okay, I get you.
In my case, it's kind of an impatience for that certain thing within the wrestling matches. No, I think on the whole, specifically out of all the matches, championship match definitely had its particular moments, but I think it was mostly for storyline, for all the sort of stuff that happened with that and how everything sort of went within the match there. Out of everything, the Cruiserweight Championship was definitely good, mostly with the style, the leaping and the lucha libre wrestling with all that sort of stuff. Is just like, yeah, show that acrobatic work.
Okay. So you definitely like the more lucha style. Okay, cool. Anything else you wanted to add?
Thank God Cena is not a rapper. And if he does still do rapping things, please don't show me.
He does
Please
occasionally. They occasionally have him busted out.
But
But it doesn't happen very often, unfortunately.
thank God.
It's so good, though.
If it comes to a particular point, you should probably shoot a couple dozen letters being like, bring a rapper person back, please. It'd be decent.
Anyway, so, I've actually decided on the next show I'm going to show you.
I am not that surprised.
Let's just say this show is all about money.
Like the typical money, that one music show money, or another particular money that I'd be terrified to see myself?
It's all about Money in the Bank 2011.
Okay.
Do I have your attention?
Suppose a catchphrase of a person that I don't particularly remember, but if I see it, I'll probably be like, oh my gosh!
I'm not sure how you're going to react to this show. Because it's... Well, I would argue it's very good. Well, I think you'll like the ladder matches, and you'll probably like the main event. Some of the undercard stuff, maybe not. But
That's kind of the case with most things. Some undercard things were like, it's an interesting idea, and some of the particular things work. Polish it up, and maybe it could be somewhat decent. Some other things, though... Why? I can understand some of them, but why?
well, you'll get 2 ladder matches and a great main event.
Okay.
So that will be fun to look forward to next time. Until then, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.